Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Corporate Secretary Yearbook. In this video series, we're talking to nominees for the Corporate Governance Awards. Today, I'm very happy to be joined by Cindy Nastowski, Senior Vice President for Corporate Law and Deputy Corporate Secretary with PepsiCo. Cindy, welcome. And Cindy is talking today about PepsiCo's nomination in the Governance Team of the Year Large Cap category. So thank you for being with us. So PepsiCo has continued to evolve its proxy statement. That's been something that you've been very keen to do. This year that involved changes including increased information of board composition, diversity, human capital management, shareholder and stakeholder engagement. How did you go about this year deciding which areas you wanted to really work on and build out? And what sort of feedback have you had from investors so far on that 2020 proxy?
So engaging with our shareholders and our stakeholders is something that's really important to us as a company across all parts of the organization. And when we start to think about preparing our proxy, we kind of get together and we say, well, gee, what questions did we get from folks that we think people have an interest in? And so those topics were really some of the topics that we got the most questions on. I think it's also areas where we feel really proud of what we've done as a company. So we wanted to highlight those things. We definitely do view our proxy statement as an important tool to communicate with our investors, and we got really good feedback on it. People felt it was very transparent and really appreciated the amount of information that we provided.
Mm-hmm. And the human capital management is obviously something that's been a big issue during this year because of the pandemic. Presumably most of the work on the proxy was done ahead of the pandemic. But so presumably that will be something you'll be building out next year. Is that something that you're beginning to think about yet? I know it's a little ways off.
Absolutely. Look, I think human capital management was something that we were hearing a lot about even before the pandemic. It was definitely an area of interest, but certainly you're right, since the pandemic, it's become even more important and something that we're going to be looking at to disclose even more about next year.
Mm-hmm. And training's also been a big focus, training particularly on the company's global code of conduct. Can you sort of talk us a little bit through about why that's so important and how you make sure the training is effective? It's and particularly in an environment where, that we've been going through in the last several months.
Sure. I think ethics is one of the hallmarks of PepsiCo's culture. It's something that our associates across the board really, really care a lot about. It's something that our CEO and our board care a lot about. So I think first of all, it's just part of our culture. We do view it as a competitive advantage for the company. Doing the right thing is the right thing for our business. So that's sort of where I think the level of importance comes from for us as a company. In terms of how the training is actually prepared and how to make it effective, certainly a lot of work goes in terms of benchmarking and looking at results and how people there are quizzes embedded in the training, and so seeing how people are doing on those quizzes. Also, a lot of work that I think is really helpful, taking real life examples to kind of rip from the headlines kind of things where you make it really practical for people so they can apply it in their day-to-day job. And I think lastly, the fact that, as I mentioned, it is a big part of our culture as a company. And so there are messages that go out from our senior leaders, from our CEO, reminding people how important this training is.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And you mentioned shareholder engagement and sort of helping in sort of inform the redesign or evolution of the proxy statement. How has the governance team worked to make sure that your shareholder engagement has been effective? How do you make sure that it is a value added sort of process?
So I think we do a lot of different things. Again, I think it's something that we do across the organization. So we engage, my team, first of all, engages in many different ways through conferences, through one-on-one meetings. We talk to, people across the corporate governance community to kind of find out what's going on. So I think those are a lot of the different ways that we, get feedback on our program. We get obviously direct feedback from our shareholders. So I think, there's a lot that goes into it in terms of canvassing different sources of feedback. And I think that's been really important to improving the program, not only from our own team, but, the sustainability team, from our public policy team, from our senior management team. So I think getting a lot of different types of input from different sources has been really critical to making sure that we've got a good program.
Okay, excellent. And just lastly, is there anything else, any other achievements from the last year or so you'd like to highlight that I think the audience?
I think I'd just say that I'm really proud of our company. I'm proud of our team, but most importantly of our associates. The vast majority of our associates work on the front lines, making and selling our product out in the marketplace. It's been a really challenging environment for them, and they're doing an amazing job. So just so proud of them.
Great. Well, Cindy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.